The Cowboys Gamble, Part 7 of 8. Cocaine Cowboy. Yesterday we left the Cowboys lit up by prime time. Deion Sanders strode into Dallas with swagger, neon and spectacle, turning the Dynasty into a show. He was speed in cleats, charisma wrapped in chains, the human highlight reel. And the Cowboys, already America's team, became America's show. But the ego's light always casts a shadow. And here in Part 7, the shadows took center stage. This is the era of the Cocaine Cowboys. Michael Irvin, the Playmaker, was more than a receiver. He was fire in the locker room, the beating heart on the sideline, the emotional anchor of the Dynasty. But his fire burned hot and wild. His League of Wolves became infamous, a crew of hangers-on, enablers and thrill-seekers who followed his every move. The parties were legendary. The headlines, scandalous. Cocaine, strippers, hotel fights, police reports, the kind of stories that sold papers faster than touchdowns. The same charisma that once lifted the team now dragged the team's image into chaos. Dallas, once a symbol of discipline and destiny, became the punchline of indulgence. And it wasn't just Irvin. The cracks widened across the roster. Troy Aikman, battered by concussions, felt the wear of carrying the mantle. He was the highest-paid quarterback in the league, but no paycheck could erase the ache. The ache of expectations. The ache of constant hits. The ache of being the face of a dynasty that was crumbling. Emmitt Smith kept grinding, carrying the ball with the same relentless determination. But even his resilience couldn't hold the cracks together. You can only take so many hits. You can only bear so many pounds before the body breaks down. And Deion. He still flashed, but flashes are distractions, not foundations. The spotlight followed him, but the team beneath him was wobbling. Key players left. Injuries mounted. Chemistry frayed. And Barry Switzer, the coach who had inherited Jimmy's empire, now looked less like a leader and more like a passenger. The media smelled blood. Every arrest, every rumor, every late-night incident was magnified. The Cowboys were no longer just on the sports page, they were on the front page. The Dynasty had shifted from triumph to tabloid. And in that shift, the fall became inevitable. Cocaine wasn't just a drug here. It was a mirror, a metaphor, the perfect symbol of the ego's promise. Cocaine gives you a rush, a high, a sense of invincibility, and then it drops you, lower than you were before. It numbs the pain temporarily, but it magnifies the emptiness long-term. That was Dallas in the mid-1990s, high on victories, high on fame, high on excess. But every high carries its crash, and the Cowboys were beginning to crash. Metaphysically, this is what the ego always does. It lures with hunger. It rewards with victory. It dazzles with glory. And then it devours with indulgence. The Cocaine Cowboys weren't just men with habits. They were symbols of what happens when indulgence replaces purpose. When hunger turns inward and eats itself alive. When victory no longer satisfies, so escape becomes the drug of choice. The Dynasty became a parody. Irvin in courtrooms. Players under suspicion. Reporters circling like vultures. Fans torn between pride in the rings and shame in the scandals. The same team that once inspired, now embarrassed. The collapse didn't happen overnight. It came piece by piece. First the coach was taken. Then the leaders fell into scandal. Then the quarterback grew weary. Then the discipline dissolved. That's how every ego project ends. Slowly, then suddenly. The cocaine was real. But more than real, it was symbolic. Quick highs. Shallow escapes. Mounting debts. Inevitable crashes. Dallas had once been forged in fire. Now it was drowning in its own smoke. The Cowboys had won the spotlight, but now the spotlight exposed their shadows. America's team became America's tragedy. Metaphysically, this is the lesson. The ego cannot sustain what it builds. It can only feed, and feeding always ends in collapse, because lack cannot last. Dallas proved it. A dynasty built on hunger, pride, and indulgence will always eat itself. But Spirit's message is not condemnation. It's recognition. Recognition that what falls was never real. That trophies and scandals alike are illusions. That Super Bowls and cocaine binges are equally empty in eternity. And when you see that clearly, you laugh. Not at the men, but at the lie that anything in this world could fill you. Tomorrow we walk into Jerry's world, the palace of ego, the empire of illusion, the grandest stadium ever built, a shrine to the idea that bigger stages mean bigger meaning. But as we will see, you can build the biggest house in the world and still feel the emptiness echo inside. So as we see, you can build the biggest house in the world and still feel the emptiness echo inside. That's the real cocaine. Not the powder on the table, but the belief that something outside you can fill the hole inside you. That's the high that always crashes. That's the empire that always falls. And the Cowboys, America's team, proved it in front of the whole world. But the story's not over yet. Because if cocaine was the illusion of power, Jerry's world is the illusion of permanence. The palace where ego makes its final stand. The biggest stage ever built, the loudest shout of "look at me" ever constructed in steel and glass. Tomorrow we step inside Jerry's world, the empire of one man's will, the house of mirrors, the stadium of illusion, and we will see once again why nothing built on the ego's foundation can last. This has been part 7 of 8. I'll see you tomorrow for the finale.